And we're live.
We are live.
I think we're live.
We are.
I think we're live.
It's,
Okay.
we're going to also open on a. Oh, I got stuff going on in the background there. There we go.
Which stuff?
Well, I watch. I make sure for the first second. I make sure that we're actually on air correctly, and we are. So yeah. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? We have to. Guess we kind of start the show tonight on a somewhat somber uh tone because we.
A somber note.
Yeah, somber note because we heard that there we go that Tom Lyle, Mr. Lyle, Spider-Man artist, passed away today, as a matter of fact. I remember
Spider-Man
that,
artist extraordinaire.
and yeah, I remember reading a lot and looking at the way he would draw that character and really really put his own spin on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that in fact I think sometimes when I'm drawing Spider-Man, I'm kind of I envision his Spider-Man. There's a lot of his Spider-Man, and when I draw Spider-Man, there's a lot of his Spider-Man in there.
All right.
Just because again, it's the era he was drawing. It was one of the times that I was watching or reading a lot of Spider-Man books. So yeah, he will be missed, and unfortunately, one of the few artists that I don't say few artists, but an artist I never got a chance to meet. Rand, did you ever meet? Did you ever meet? Did you ever meet Lyle at all?
I've attended a few conventions that he was at, but I don't remember ever meeting him directly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he will be missing. I was shocked when the news came out today because death is always unexpected. But yeah, this was one of the few that I didn't get a chance to meet yet that I
Just
had planned on. Yeah,
just as I made a banner too. You put
yeah.
a
Yeah.
picture
Oh,
of me.
well, there we go.
There we go.
So yeah, again, rest in peace, Tom Lyle. Yeah, and I think and I got as a matter of fact, I have some Spider-Man issues right here by me. I think I just put it was a couple I just put up too in the long boxes that are drawn
Mm-hmm.
were drawn by him. So now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he do a couple Clone Saga books too, Randy?
I am not positive.
During the Clone Saga?
I suppose I can zip over to his wiki page real fast.
Yeah.
Take a look here.
In the meantime, we're getting everybody an opportunity to come on in here and talk about all the goodness going on in indie comics. You did not see the banner incorrectly. There are a few people who believe, few creators who believe that they don't have to understand nothing.
Poop. They don't have to understand poop.
Yeah, and they don't want to
At
understand
least
poop.
until 10 o'clock. Then we'll switch over to that S word.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, they refuse to understand poop.
I called it professional mushrooming.
Hmm.
When they stay in the dark and they're fed shit and they pick up. Whoops, sorry. And, they,
Yeah.
and they're fed S
Yeah.
because that's their choice. Uh, Starman Penciler,
Hmm.
88 to 90. The Comet Penciler, 91 to 92. Detective Comics Penciler in 92. And then Spider Man Penciler from 93 to 95, succeeded
Yeah.
by John Romita Jr.
Yeah. I said he probably would have got a couple of Clone Saga books in. Yes, yes, yes. And so yeah, we're definitely going to the loss one of the losses that you definitely feel, especially for me in my childhood. So
Started out drawing Airboy for Eclipse.
okay.
Came to prominence with DC Comics Starman with Roger Stern writing. They produced introduced the second blockbuster, Starman number 9.
Ah. Well, we're gonna hit our intro.
First Robin limited series with Chuck Dixon. Went through a number of reprintings: Robin 2, Joker's Wild, and Robin 3, Cry of the Huntress. co-created the Electrocutioner in Detective Comics, and Stephanie Brown in Detective Comics number 647.
Yeah.
Looking Spider-Man Annual number 7. Penciler on Spider-Man, one of the artists on Maximum Carnage. And the Clone Saga. Yep, you're right. Storylines which ran through many Spider-Man titles. During this time, he designed the original blue hoodie and red spandex costume worn by the Scarlet Spider, clone of Spider-Man. Lyle's work for Marvel included Punisher with John Ostrander, many more other things.
Well, let's hit our intro and get right into it, because we got a packed show today. We actually got a video, an interview that we recorded previously that we're going to air on today's episode as well.
Yep.
Here's that intro, everybody.
Run
Cover
it.
your ears. Hello, greetings, everyone. I'm so excited to have you here today. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, 2019. My name is Varian Grant. I am the co-owner of Last Call Comics, been so for the last 7 years, and founder of Indie Vote Media LLC. Started making comics back in 2008. Been a fan for much longer, obviously. My first book published was a black and white interior action comedy called Psycho Sirens. I am a father, a husband, a geek, a creator, a publisher, a reluctant taxpayer, and artist. Shamefully not in that order. And you're watching Indie Vote Live. Tonight, I'm joined by Lola and, of course, Mr. Zimmerman.
Hey, everybody. Randy Zimmerman, alternative independent comics creator, self-publisher, direct marketeer, retailer for a while. No longer retailing. I was doing a newspaper for about 10 years that we distributed here in the Flint, Michigan area, a comics and entertainment paper, and I am now back into looking at getting into comics. And I'm doing the Zim Geek channel here on YouTube, where I talk about all sorts of geekery and teach a little cartooning and talk about some of the stuff that I've done. Right now, I'm a award-winning commercial artist with lots of stuff to do, and when I'm not doing that stuff, I'll be working on comic book stuff. So
cool.
And more Zim Geek videos. So
yeah, you got Zim Geek.
Been in the business for years. My first book that I published was not published, but had published, was Tales from the Universe, #1 from Arrow Comics. But I had a lot of short stories printed before that, and Journey, and Just Imagine Comics and Stories, and wherever I could go.
So. You've been at it for quite a while. I was looking at it's funny.
Way long time.
I was looking at The Toys That Made Us on Netflix the other day, and I remember I've tried to, since I've started doing comics, get as much information on the history, especially the local history here in, being from Michigan,
right,
of things and of how the industry has progressed. And I remember one of the first comics that I ever got, this guy had a store in Redford, Michigan, an older guy. He always looked like, I hate to say this, but he always like he was on death's doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had one arm, and it was a store on Grand River, and it was this little dusty comic shop. But oh man, it had so much cool stuff in it. But I was in there with my father, and he says, "Here, kid, here, I'm gonna give you this," and he gives me one of the A+ comics.
Yeah.
And so I took that home. I remember flipping through it, and I don't think at the time I liked it. I was like, this stuff looks kind of weird. It didn't it wasn't my Jim Lee X-Man. It was a lot. He said, these guys are from Detroit.
I don't think Jim Lee was around during that period, was he?
No, the comic. By the time I was given the comic, he was.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
probably had to blow the dust off of that A+. Here, kid.
And
have a funny book.
I remember years later.
That might have had a Wrath story in there by Bill Menzner Loeb. So
possibly, I remember it was the cover was. I still have the book. As a matter of fact, it's in one of these long boxes around here somewhere. But the cover was this guy, white hair. I think he had a red robe on. He's reaching towards a reader like this or something. But and he's like woods green. It's really a kind of scary looking cover. But I remember years would pass, and I tracked these guys down,
Yeah.
and I found that's how I found out about they're doing games now, and I having huge testicles. I decided to call up the where they were at. Can't think of the name of where they were at now, where they became, but Palladium Games,
Yeah.
and I got in contact with a gentleman out there, and he said, "Yeah, you know what? Come on down." So in my I had the temerity to just get in my car and just drive on over to their warehouse and factory and their headquarters, and I drove on over and walked in, and I met Kevin Sambia, and he showed me one of the original copies of the Ninja Turtles and other strange about board game they had made, and just really took me around and showed me a lot of stuff they did, a lot of cool stuff. But I remember he told me, he was like, they explained to me how they were kind of instrumental in getting TMNT their deal, Eastman and Laird. And I was like, well, that's never really been covered. I have a DVD called Turtle Power, which is supposed to be the definitive history of Ninja Turtles, and they didn't mention any of that. But Toys That Made Us did do a quick interview. He must have been on screen for maybe 11 seconds, if that, with Kevin Zambita, and they had him on there. And then, so anyway, it's like you start seeing people that you know, and that you cross paths with, and you're like, it's really interesting, and it kind of if you're not overcome with extreme envy that they're on TV and you're not, it does.
Oh, come on, not on the TV.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it does kind of inspire you to keep working, because hey, look, he got 11 seconds on a Netflix special.
There you go.
Yeah, same with Michelle.
His life is now complete.
Yeah, yeah. I want my 11 seconds.
I got 11 seconds in a documentary called American Scream.
Did you?
Yeah, I got an IMDb credit for it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, I have my own page. Yeah, heck yeah. I is famous.
That
and $6 will buy me a cup of coffee at Grand Rapids Con next year. Yeah.
You also have what, 4 seconds on Treehouse Masters?
No, probably less than that.
Yeah.
My work though is all through that episode, which was what was really most important. The preservers are all over that episode, which is cool. He takes the comic book, rolls it up, and sticks it in his back pocket. Then when I met him, he's like, "I want you to sign this." I said, "Yeah, I'm not going to sign that copy for you, buddy. I got another one out in the car. Let me give you one that's in a plastic protector, and so that maybe you can keep it and hang it up and have some pride." But that's all right. But he didn't know better, because that's what funny books were all about. You take them. Back when he was a kid, that's probably what he did. He took that comic book, rolled it up, stuck it in his back pocket. That's what funny books were for.
Yeah.
Heck, they were only 10, 12, 15 cents. So.
I remember when I first got my first set of books, I had a box of them, and I took them around everywhere with me. And I think I mentioned this on the show, but we may have been off the air when I mentioned this, but my first office was actually my second office was in downtown Detroit, but I lived about 44 minutes from there. But if I went to the local mall, I could take $1.75 and get dropped off around the corner from my office, a short walk. Well, that to me was a lot better than we wasting gas to drive all the way downtown, having to park for another $10. And so I was like, I can just park my car at the mall, take the bus from the mall. So I sit on the bus for 40 minutes, go downtown, go work, leave. It was a lot better. Well, sure. I'm at the mall, and there's this guy sitting next to me, and he asked me what I had in the box, and I'm like, well, I have a some comics, and he asked me what they are, and I give him let me see the comics, and he's like, oh, cool, man, these are cool. And he talks to me for like a good 10 minutes while waiting on the bus, and he says, can I have one of these? And like, you know what, yeah, sure, go ahead. These comics that I am so in love with. Then he rolls it up, like you said, Randy, and puts it in his back pocket.
Yep.
It wasn't newsprint like some books. This is my high quality. Uh, um, you know, was this roll them up, read them later?
Mhm.
No, toilet tissue was rolled, not my damn comics. Anyway, so Randy, let's jump into the questions here.
Well, first we should probably say hello to Ted, Dave, and Ralph,
Oh yeah, hello
all in
guys.
there,
Thanks for coming in the chat. We
all in the
appreciate it.
chat. There's an Art Torres there too that
Yeah,
said hello to Krista.
yeah. Let's see here.
I don't think there's any Krista here. There's only Lola,
What do
aka Tiddalicious.
we, let's see here. So, Randy, let me jump into questions. Are you ready to read?
I can read.
Alrighty. Yes, they don't pay me enough to read here. Where are we at? There we go. All right.
How can I get artist to draw my comic for free? See all these BS memes about pay them, but I don't have that kind of money. I'm more than willing to cut them in on the back end. Anyway. We haven't put up the TV 14, but this BS rhetoric that drawing for free is forbidden is probably why DDO says there is no talent. Well, DDO says there is no talent because he hasn't gone out there and actually looked to see if there was any talent out there in about the last 20 years, TD. But we really appreciate your sending in a question. The big thing that you need to you can't. You can't. Anyway,
Dave from Data Supreme, yeah, you can't.
Dave says you can't. The big thing you have to remember, TD, is these artists are out there just like you, trying to get by, trying to make some money, trying to feed their family, trying to pay their bills, trying to keep the lights on, trying to keep the internet paid for. And expecting them to work for free or even working to, pay them out the back end isn't going to work for them on a lot of times, especially if you want a good, dependable artist. Back when I was doing Arrow Comics, I was working that way, working for a percentage, and I'd get people signed into a 3-contract deal, and because they didn't get what they liked off of the first 3-issue deal, and it's because they didn't like what they got off of the first issue, even though they were getting paid a large percentage of the profits, there just wasn't that much in profits, that they decided not to do number 3. So that will become a problem. If you want dependability, you kind of have to pay them.
I think that
and if you want quality, you definitely have to pay them.
Yeah, so. I mean, arrange something. Let a lot of artists know what you're working with.
Even if it's just a little pay, so that they have enough to get groceries. That's the big thing. That you got to let these guys take some pride in what they're doing instead of just going, yeah, I'll give you a couple points off of the back end.
Yeah.
And as an artist, you should never do that kind of a deal for free for back end points, especially for no paper, just a handshake, because you really have to look at it as a business. Even if it's a business with very, very little money.
Yeah, I would say make sure that you have a contract in place where you can, because you might not mean TD, you might not mean to screw some artist over, but you have to understand a lot of times that first book makes no money.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing this is your first book, and if it is, I learned that the hard way that those first books, they made little to no money. And in fact, I'm going to say they made no money. They definitely make enough to cover the expense of printing them.
Yeah.
And I asked them to get mad with me. They got very upset with me, and they walked off. And some of them have discovered since that, oh crap, this is what happened to Variant. Mm-hmm. It's happened to me now. I'm out of here.
Welcome to real life.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go flip burgers. That's what happens. That is what happens. Yeah. You don't want these people, especially if they're talented, to have to go out and flip burgers.
Yeah.
You really don't. So you want to try to give them as much respect, and money comes, it's part of that respect.
had this been after 10, Randy would have said, "Guess I go turn tricks."
Yeah. Nowadays, if I were to get into a collaboration with an artist, which I have talked to a couple of artists about working on some of my IP stuff, I would give them more than just a little bit off of the back end. I would probably give them a stake in the IP. Maybe not a controlling stake, but it would be a pretty large stake depending upon their involvement and their dedication to the work.
Yeah.
You know, and for that, I would definitely draw up papers.
Yeah.
So,
And a cameo in the movie.
and a cameo in the movie, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Nothing like walking by staring at Jennifer Lawrence for 5 seconds, hoping that you're going to make it into the film.
Yeah.
There we go. Thanks, TD, for your question. Sorry to, if that was a disappointment, but that's the way it works.
Yeah. All right.
Side hustle in full effect.
Yeah.
Davies says, yes, it is. Got to do something.
Yeah.
Got to do something. My comic, Joseph loves Amanda. I take it that's love. It's kind of a
Hard. Yeah.
greater than 3.
Yeah.
Was rejected, not just from Kickstarter, but also on Indiegogo due to subject matter. Joseph's love for American Amanda is forbidden due to age differences. Oh boy. So he takes her to a country where their love is legal. Where can I crowdfund my project? Help. G. Antar. G. Antar, you might need to move to where their love is legal and print that book there. Because if you're dealing in something that's inappropriate in the minds of Kickstarter or especially Indiegogo, then it's probably pretty close to illegal here in the States. So I would not consider printing that book here unless you like sitting in a cell.
And you're not gonna find anyone that's gonna try to come crowdfund.
Even if and you're not going to find any site that's going to want to take on crowdfunding because they also do not want to be sitting in a cell. So, I would suggest if you need to tell a love story like that, move their ages back a little.
Yeah.
Make him 80 and her 25 or 30 or something, or 25 or 20 or whatever. Just make sure it's legal, and you'd have to go out of your way to make sure it was legal. I have a strange feeling here that somebody is, fulfilling some sort of fetish dream, and that kind of that kind of stuff is probably labeled pornography in most states, and will get your ass in trouble.
I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight face. Yeah.
Say what?
I can't keep a straight face. I was trying to be professional.
We are trying to be professional here because we are the most educated people, or the most educated podcast for comics, right?
Yeah. But G. Antar, I would say.
G. Antar.
Definitely do not. You can't crowdfund it anywhere. If you try to crowdfund it through most places, they will get rid of you.
And if you have any of that kind of material in your house, burn it.
Yeah. Also,
you better be careful of the laws in your state. That's all I can say.
I mean, you may think it's cool, but
well aware.
There are people, including I'm one of them. That shit's not cool. And
yes. Most people, that's against their mores, and there's even question now for anime. Looking, some of the girls in anime looking too young, and you have to be careful, especially nowadays with the crackdown on child trafficking and child porn, that your stuff doesn't get mistaken for that stuff, because
and PayPal's tracking now too. PayPal just pulled their services from a couple different websites whose primary focus is entertainment, be it adult or otherwise, because they don't trust the content creators.
And I would honestly imagine if you got into that kind of trouble with drawing that kind of material, that even the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund would tell you that they have much better things to be defending.
Yeah.
And best of luck.
Yeah. You're not going to get any help from them. I
That
would
would be my biggest recommendation, Antar, or G, is to think about moving to that country where that kind of thing is legal, if that's your thing.
yeah.
Lolita was already written. Yes, it was.
And our last question for this evening, last printed question from this evening is
Advice for the lovelorn? No.
no, no.
So explain to me, like I'm a complete moron. Does that tie into the subject of today's podcast? The
In a
topic?
way, it does. Yeah.
What you all seem to find lacking, entertainment wise, in modern mainstream or indie comics, W. Hayes. That might be a question for us to hang on to when we have a few more people here on the cast
Yeah.
to get a more wider variety. Lacking entertainment wise, there's a lot of stuff. Obviously, W. Hayes is young and hasn't read a lot of comics, or is reading the modern comics without realizing what quality used to be.
You know
Right?
what?
There actually used to be quality levels, son.
You know what? You know what I say.
Funny books used to be fun.
And I got to go off on a bit of a tangent here, but let me. I'll try to make it very quick. I
Not
was
so much
watch,
pizza or shawarma. Anyway,
I was watching a commercial, um, and it was a commercial about acceptance, and the commercial showed uh, a a guy sitting down, and his mother was putting makeup on him.
mm-hmm.
The next commercial, or the next scene showed a girl using one of those wraps to basically pull in her younger sister's breast, to wrap them so they were, held in. The next one showed a boy, I don't want to say a boy, but a person, a being, and their grandmother, and yet the long wig on, makeup,
For a minute there, I thought you were going back to our last question.
no, he had the makeup on, and it kind of looked like a showgirl, uh,
I gotcha.
and just had the corset on and the push 'em up and some
Mm-hmm.
fishnets, and the grandma and this person, they were standing in the mirror dancing, and then they show a father. They show two guys. These two guys they're lovers. They're holding hands in the back of a car, and the driver pulls over and they get out the car, and you see they're going to a pride parade. And I'm watching the commercial, and I'm like, okay, I still don't know what it's for. And at the end of the ad, it says Sprite.
Sprite?
Yeah. And that's it. And I'm like, it's way at the end of the ad. I mean, it's like no one cracked open a Sprite during the commercial. No one, there's no Sprite bottle sitting in the background.
How do you know it wasn't subliminal?
Well, yeah, they might have been hitting some subliminal advertising during the commercial. But the thing was, I thought about that, and I thought about how that relates to comics. That video was an ad to show acceptance, but it was an ad with an agenda, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But I think one of the problems a lot of people have with modern day comics now is that sometimes people are so focused on getting that agenda in the book, they also forget to tell a story. They also forget to tell a compelling story. And so you have a book that shows a character get up, go get something to eat, go hang out with their friends, break up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, get something to eat again, and go home.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, did anyone throw a punch in that book? Was there any type of movement of the story? And I think that sometimes they just forget because they're so focused on getting that message across that they want to get, they feel they have the right to do that. And they've been hired to do that, I guess. They forget to add the story in. If that makes any sense.
Well, it's kind of like, didn't we we talked last Thursday about the superheroes in comics, independent superheroes,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that you're dealing with a fantasy uh, genre anyway. You need to be more fantastic and more whimsical.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, other than what you're talking about. But too many of the modern mainstream comics, just to talk about mainstream, have writers that are writing themselves. They're not writing characters. They're not trying to tell an entertainment story or an entertaining story. They just want to tell you about their day. And that's not very entertaining. Nobody wants to read this dull crap. Nobody wants to see everybody in a pizza parlor every issue just discussing life. And if they want to do that, they're going to take their friends out, or they're going to get up on Facebook and talk to their buddies.
Yeah.
Comics need to be more fantastical than that. And you're in a medium where you can literally show everything. I mean, that's why the movies are catching up so quickly to the content in comics, is because the movies are getting to a point now where they can show you anything.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me, I got to cough for a second. I don't want to do that on. Anyway, you got to understand what the medium is what comics as a medium are all about, and the fact that where the quality was in that medium that made so much money in the past. And granted, comics are an art form and have proudly been propaganda for many, many, many times. There's some great underground comics that are propaganda. Captain America, when he first started out, was solid propaganda. All of the World War II, fight the Nazis, fight Tojo, that kind of thing was all hardcore propaganda, but it was done very entertainingly, had a point, had a story, had a beginning, middle, and end. They didn't just start at a pizza parlor talking about their life and end leaving the pizza parlor, deciding to go home and go to bed. They actually had some movement. They had some action running in there. There was a purpose. There was a purpose to their story. And the modern comics need to desperately get back to that again, where they're telling tales, whether they're simplistic, good versus evil tales, or they're very deeply psychological masterpieces like Watchmen or even Dark Knight, if that's your thing. Since then things have gotten so stagnant and terrible, and they've like followed the current filmmakers' theory of defying expectations, that it's really gotten to be very poor quality in general. And these mainstreams especially are cheapening up so much that they're grabbing whatever cheap talent they can find instead of actually going out there and finding talent that's viable, usable, bankable, and making the old run of superstars again, because they're scared to death another Image Comics will start, or these guys will just walk off and start crowdfunding their own stuff.
Isn't it weird too? They kind of did do that. I mean, now there's a bunch of little Image Comics. That is tons of them. So just keeping them in one company that you could have went and bought. Now you've got them, all over.
Anthony Figueros is looking good, fellas.
Thanks, Anthony. How's it going?
Paul Schultz is in the house.
Who's that?
Paul Schultz.
Okay.
My biggest problem. My biggest problem with mainstream superhero comics is 20 pages of story and an average of 2 pages of action. Nothing ever happens. It's just what I said. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They start in a pizza parlor talking about their life, and they end going home deciding to go to bed.
Yeah.
Nobody fights. There's no point to the story unless you like reading 20 pages of boring conversation.
Yeah. And I used to think it was because these guys are writing for that trade paperback. No, they're not. They don't know how to tell a story. They don't. Some of them don't want to know. They don't want to tell a story. And guess what? What brings us to our theme today? Brings us back to our theme. They don't want to know how to tell a story. They don't have to understand it, and they don't want to understand it.
We didn't make these comics for you.
Yeah.
Just because you have a wallet and like reading sequential art. They didn't make those comics for you.
That's right. So, Randy, that's our theme for today's show. Creators who refuse to understand.
Shh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we ran across a couple, Randy. You and I have ran across a couple.
And it's getting worse. There just seems to be more and more of them out there. Now, way back when I did the Spank the Monkey on the comic market, I said that was a major problem. That a lot of these guys, a lot of these creators are treated as mushrooms by the mainstream companies. They're forced to sit in their basement in a small room, in their studio or whatever, and just grow. Like a mushroom. They're kept in the dark and they're fed a bunch of crap about how their business is going. Oh, hey, Batman's selling great. Let's have Catwoman cheat on Robin. Cheat on Batman with Robin. Oh, that'll be great. Nightwing loves her. Yeah. Who wants to read this stuff? Nobody wants to read that stuff. Yeah. And there were good romance comics back in the 50s and 60s. Jack Kirby and Joe Simon created romance comics back in the 50s, really to keep their family fed, but that's a whole nother story, but also to attract female readers. I refuse to accept what you're saying, Anthony says. Why is that?
Let's see here. Because we refuse. They refuse to.
He doesn't have to understand.
Paul Schultz says there's also an average of 50 words per page. It's not a lot of talking gets done in the pizza parlors.
They're all chewing on the pizza.
Yeah.
Nom, 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 nom. And then that 2 panels later, they go, "Oh, I think I just tasted pepperoni."
Yeah.
It's just a lot of these so-called writers in the mainstream write themselves. They write. That's all that they know how to write.
Yeah.
They don't know story structure. They don't have an editor up there telling them, well, maybe you should have a point to this book. There was been looking at a few podcasts that are pointing out even artistic problems in anatomy and that the editors should be catching, and they're not catching them.
Well,
way back when, not even 10, 20 years ago, when everybody was drawing like Jim Lee in the mainstream, all of that anatomy had to be real, because they were pushing for that style of realism. Now they don't care as long as they can pay Joe from Argentina a page rate, and he kind of puts what they want on the page. They'll run with it. They don't care.
And it's not just the story. It's not just a story. There are other things that that some modern, not all modern creators.
Do you need to send Tony a link?
Tony, would you like to come in?
Of course he would.
Here.
That's why he's yelling in the chat. We're about to have him in on an interview that we're going to run anyway.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Let's see here. I can send him a link.
You should always send him a link. And Ralph needs to get vocal too. He needs to get some equipment. And Paul, if you've got the equipment, I would think you were always welcome on here. Is he always welcome on here, Varian? I don't want to assume.
Yeah.
You're the man in charge, so.
I'll just send the wrong Anthony a link. That Anthony.
We're all a group of friends discussing a topic anyway.
Let's see here. All right. Yeah, I don't know if Anthony can come in.
James is in the house. So many crap artists getting paid in Main Street. Yes, they are. And that's more than just DDO saying we can't find nobody. It's just that, a lot of times they're looking for people who want to work for less.
What books do you think is have to read first before you dip your toe in the pool? I always go back to Understanding Comics.
What toe? Which pool? What books to do comics? I would recommend studying, looking to see what the big mainstay, not the modern mainstays, but some of the big classics were. I'd sit down and immerse yourself into some of the great old comics, especially the ones that sold a ton. Because you want to know how to do that.
Paul says, when I was drawing Serial Squad, shameless plug, I wrote aspects of myself, but I also wrote the react plays.
Yes. You wrote characters.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going to write some of yourself, and that you write what you know, but you don't write what you knew yesterday, or what you did yesterday.
Randy, would you say some of these creators nowadays are making graphic journals, graphic diaries?
Some of them, yeah, because some of these writers even come from young adult novels that never sold.
Yeah.
That are still sitting at Barnes and Nobles. That I wrote a young adult novel. I can write a funny book. Come on, you know. That's the way that they think. That's why these sales are dropping through the floor instead of actually telling, like Paul said, and knowing how to tell a 3-act play in a 3-act structure. All
I'm
you
gonna
have to know is basic English composition, story structure.
I'm going to run our interview um real quick with Shane Morrison from Crimson Gate Comics. From we taped this interview, was it last Thursday or Friday?
Friday, I think,
Friday?
wasn't it? Friday,
Friday. Yeah. So
Thursday night, Friday morning.
we're gonna still be here though for the most part. So
Are we going to stop the tape and make remarks
yeah, we can start. Yeah, yeah,
in the midst of it all?
yeah, yeah.
Can we ask them if they paid their dues?
Have you paid your dues, Jack?
All right, here we go. I'm gonna start that interview. This better not be porn.
It's better not be porn.
If all goes to plan, it won't be porn.
It's your film. It definitely better not be porn.
Yeah, yeah.
It's your video.
Please don't be porn. Please don't be porn.
There's Anthony right there. Did you send Anthony a link?
No, he hasn't come in yet. This is the video from.
He's
Oh.
not being in 30.
Oh, is he? Okay, he'll be in 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
His kids probably have to get home and settle.
Yeah.
Let's hope he shuts his fan off this time.
All right. I got to make sure that you guys are actually going to hear.
Can we hear that? Are we sharing audio?
I believe we are, but just in case we aren't, hold on.
Now we're back.
Just in case we aren't sharing audio, I will make sure.
You should put up your TV 14.
Yeah, I'll put my TV 14 up too.
I'll get it. There it is.
All right.
Warning, maybe adult content.
All right. We got two guests now. We've seen Anthony Figueroa on the show before. Anthony
It's got your bad audio.
God's hand, which is currently funding on Indiegogo.
Check it out.
Yeah, he's about at the time of this taping, which is 14th of November. He is 22 days from closing. So Anthony, you're pretty excited, but now we have a newbie. Give him the welcome, Randy. Give him the welcome.
Oh yeah, here we go.
See, you're slipping, man.
Oh, I am slipping. You caught me sleeping.
Welcome to the party, pal.
So welcome, Mr. Shane Morrison. Now, if you hear that chink, if it sounds like someone's like stirring tea in the background, that's Anthony's fan. So you'll hear that. But let's go. You are the creator of Cross's Gate, which is currently funding.
Actually, I'm the publisher for it.
Publisher. We'll just say creator, no worry. Yeah, you are the man behind Cross's Gate, which is funding on Kickstarter.
Yes, sir.
And you got 11 days as of this taping to get it funded. And we're going to bring it up too. I'm going to bring it up on the screen a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the series, but first tell us a little bit about yourself. And then Anthony, I'll come over to you and then you can do the same.
Okay. Well, I'm a full-time EMT, and I also run Crimson Gate Comics, which is like my own little label I made for my comic books, and also for Crossers Gate, which is created by Travis Martinez. And my own personal series is Beast King, but I'm trying to think of what else there is to say about myself. I'm based out of Texas, and I'm 25 years old, and I've been doing comics for, I believe, 1.5 years, almost 2 years now.
Okay. What brought you to comics? Just always liked them, or are you?
Yeah, I've always liked comics. I mean, I couldn't read them as much as I would have liked to when I was younger because we didn't exactly have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Anthony, it took a long time to stir that tea, man. A long time.
Just about the whole video.
Yeah.
We were kind of a little on the poor side. But I prefer indie comics over mainstream comics.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that. And Anthony, you are down in New Orleans. New Orleans. And you've been doing comics. You've been involved in comics how long now?
Let's see. I did my first published book in 2004, actually, for Ape Entertainment, and then me and my guy Marcus DeGisu out of Jersey went and we formed Lightning Age Studios, and then we did a book called Justice City Chronicles in 2005. I kind of decided to go and try to be a criminal for a little while, and that didn't work out so good. So I'm retired now, and I'm making my way back into comics.
You've retired from your life of crime and decided to get into funny books?
I have. You know what I mean? I'm trying to change my wayward ways. I too was also poor when I was a young man, and you know how I got into comics. I couldn't afford comics either, so I stole them, and me and my friends would get them from 7-Eleven. And then we started tracing them and so on and so forth. And but I put that aside. I put that behind me now. I'm trying to make comic books the right way, the legitimate way, and hopefully be successful at it. A little bit more successful than I was as a criminal. It'd be great.
You know,
that might be an interesting topic for a future show, Marion, about comics and poverty.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
I grew up poor. So.
I want to make a comment about that, but there's I found out too because I happen to know a felon. Apparently, there's something called HIDA that you can use if you stay out of trouble for 2 years in Michigan. Anyway, they'll hide your felonies. They'll take them off your record.
Really?
HIDA, yeah.
How long you gotta live? How long you gotta live up there for them to pull that off?
I'm not sure. But
I got one. I'd like to get rid of. Nice.
Is that a bonus for having to put up with all the damn snow?
Probably. But it's funny you guys mentioned that because here's the problem. I really want to say, you know, man, I grew up poor, not being able to, and it's really weird because I'm the only black guy on the cast. You think I would say that? No, I grew up spoiled rotten. Yeah, they grew up spoiled rotten. I pretty much got anything I asked for.
Marion used to be a movie star and a model, right?
He used to be a model. Almost was in Cop and a Half. It was between me and the kid who got the role. But I did a bunch of stuff in Meijer and Kmart and Sears back in the day. But
Meijer's is a chain of box stores up here.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a bunch of. One day I'm gonna bring the stuff on the show, and I'm trying to pull some of my old commercials so I can show them on YouTube. That'll be funny. But So let's get back into the comics here. So today our subject basically is all this awesome crowdfunding fun we have going on, and because I'm not very original, I think that's what I called it, crowdfunding fun. I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. I can't find the banner that I made. Oh well. But yeah, so we are going to talk to you guys about your books because obviously I want you guys to succeed and get these books, meet your goals. So let's bring up Shane's first that he's publishing. This is 1 second. There we go. Crosser's Gate. And hold on. Let me make sure that I shared that audio because I want to play the video. Is the video YouTube safe? Well, I guess it is because it's on YouTube, right, Trey?
As some people will say, it's better not be porn.
It's just a very horror trailer type video.
Do you remember how you got here?
Cool logo.
Mm-hmm. That was good.
Piss myself. It's my screen.
That's cool.
Nice. Very nice.
Ouch. Very, very nice. So that's 4 books.
Yeah, the Kickstarter is actually for the 4th book, but the previous 3 have already been released and all that.
Mm-hmm. That
It looks good, Shane.
Yeah, looks good.
So let's talk a little bit about the campaign here, and let me see if I can. I'll put it back up on the screen here. The campaign itself is at so you have 53% funded for 11 days remaining, and let's see here. All right, so yeah, there's a digital copy, digital bundles. We really like printed bundles though. The printed versions. See here. There we go. Issue number 4 with art print, and your estimated delivery. Oh, that's a couple of months from now, February 2020.
Yeah, the pages and everything's completely done. It's just once the Kickstarter money comes in, I can just send it straight to the printer.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And it's a black and white. Travis, I'm saying that right? Travis, he's got a manga style.
Yeah, I always call it like a. To me, it always seems like more of like a hybrid comic manga style.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's probably more manga than comic style.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's from the Philippines.
Right. Yeah, I like it. I like that. That reminds me of old Zippertone back in the day, Randy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really like that. And now, how is the book finished at this point, or are you still working on pages?
Issue 4 is completely done.
Okay.
It just has to be sent off to the printer.
Oh,
but it's a continuous series. I think once we get up to like issue 6, he's gonna have to start making pages and everything, because he actually had this like lying around for a good while, and then me and him kind of met. He sent me the files to show me like what his pages would look like when I started up my Beast King series, and I pretty much offered to him like, hey, how would you like to have this, like attempted to have it published or something, because he's out in the Philippines, so I don't think Kickstarter is allowed out there.
Okay.
Like it has restrictions for certain countries.
That's right. I believe that's right.
And I think it's mostly because their postal system isn't that great out there.
And if you're watching, we got watching a video. Tommy Sharp says, "Hey, how's it going, Tommy?" We are watching we recorded on again. I want to say it was November 14th, so a couple days ago, with Anthony Figueroa and Shane Morrison. Shane Morrison is the operator of Crimson Gate Comics, so we're watching that, and we'll come into our live show in a little while. Just wanted to make sure I got this aired, and this video will also be available by itself after tonight's broadcast too. So you don't have to watch this broadcast for that interview. I know one of the gentlemen that draws a book for my company, Last Call Comics. He is from the Philippines, and he's never tried to do a book on Kickstarter and everything, which he definitely has the skill, I think, to do a book. But that's probably why, because he can't access those funds. Physical copy $10, physical copy and art print $18. The physical bundle is $25. So for $25, the price of most books on crowdfunding, I can get all 4 issues and a sketch. Sketches, a physical copy and a sketch, your choice, $30. Now, who's doing the art on those physical sketches? Is that Travis?
Yeah, Travis does all the drawing.
Okay, that looks pretty cool. And then commissioned by Travis, $100. Yeah, man, look at that. He's got some. Is that some Devil May Cry art there? Some. Oh yeah,
it looks like it.
Yep. T-shirts. Oh man, yeah, you guys got a lot of different. And let's see. Let me go back up here. I like this graph that you guys broke down the money. So 10% is going to the Kickstarter fees. 20% is going to the production. another 20% to shipping, and the rest, the remaining 50%, is going to
That's right.
printing.
That's right.
Yeah, but there's no, and I got one problem with this graph. There should be a little like black area. It's like variant. Like what should go to me? I need a taste.
And why? Yeah. Why do you need a taste, buddy?
Just a little taste, man.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Look, I married an Italian woman. I'm used to shaking people down now. Just
oh, goodness gracious! Thank you for the stereotype. Appreciate it.
Yeah, just you want us to do something to you? No, but I do like that you put that graph up. That helps. That helps a lot. And people feel a lot more comfortable when they see graphs. They know where their money's going or where it should go.
Yep.
Let's see.
Yeah, it kind of makes it feel more professional.
And let's see. So now, are you gonna be printing these books and sending them out yourself through your company, Crimson Gate?
Yeah, basically, I handle like the shipping and all that stuff.
Okay.
Is this the only book that Crimson
So
Gate is doing?
Crimson Gate. What?
Is this the only title that Crimson Gate is currently doing? Or are you printing more stuff right now?
No, we have our first two is Crossers Gate and Beast King.
Okay.
And then next year I'm hoping to start up another one of my series called Ungodly Champion.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I'm kind of financially in a tight spot, so it's kind of put a delay on my stuff. So
Understood.
we figured we might as well keep Travis's stuff going, so that way, we're at least putting something out.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a tier here on your campaign that somebody could get all 4 Crossers Gates at once, right?
Yep.
1 through 4.
Yes.
So
Digital and physical.
they can pick up the whole story by pledging in this campaign. Yeah, I thought I saw that on there.
Yeah. He has it's all 4. He's got 11 days left. 1,500 is the goal. It's definitely possible. He's almost at 800 books.
Oh, absolutely.
Let me see here.
Yeah, it's actually going better than I thought it would because I started it out as a 21-day campaign.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you, Shane. Are you? I passed by the.
Yeah.
Here we go. That's the physical bundle, $25.
$25.
Does that include shipping, or is that?
That includes shipping on US.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very nice. Very nice. Shane, I noticed that you have a $3 bundle or $3 deal for the PDF digital copy.
Yeah.
Now you probably, I don't know if you've seen the show, but me and Randy, we I don't want to say we detest, but
we've talked about doing PDFs in the past.
Yeah. And PDFs, yeah, and the downfalls that can happen when you send out PDFs. Are you a little nervous, or what type of steps are you taking to make sure that some 14-year-old jerk sitting in his basement doesn't get the $3 PDF and decides to throw it on BitTorrent or
You're talking about like creating it for friends?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, I just look at it as if they're doing that, that's more eyes on our comic books. I wouldn't be too upset about it because the people that they're showing it to might actually go and buy it.
That's true. That's true. They may.
Gotcha. Yep.
They may. That's very un-Italian of you, Shane.
Oh, I'm more Irish about it.
I can see it. It's Irish.
Yeah. Who is messaging me? Okay. So yeah. Now you got this. This is coming out February 2020. You are on track, and the books 1, 2, and 3 are already printed.
What?
Are books 1, 2, and 3 printed already?
Yeah, I literally have them sitting in my house.
Okay, that's cool. So yeah, there's gonna be no hold up on this at all. Yeah, I think that we may have to get some of these, Randy, and maybe I can get some too to give away here on Indie Vote Live when we do our live show. We do love giving away free comics to people. I'll piss everybody off. I'll give somebody 1, let somebody win 2, 3, 4. Then they have to come to Shane and buy the other copies that they need. That's how we'll do it.
There you go.
Now, Jay, let's just say someone watches this on the Christmas Day. The campaign is closed. Are you going into in demand, or are you going to have them on your store?
I do both.
I have an Etsy account at the moment for like people that aren't able to get it on the Kickstarter, and I usually like after everything's done with the Kickstarter, maybe like a few weeks later, I'll add that book onto the website.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the in demand is, Shane? It allows you can train the in demand store. Like what it is it's on Indiegogo, but you can transfer your information from Kickstarter to Indiegogo. And what it does is it essentially leaves your campaign open until you ship the books. So I would recommend if you fund, I would definitely recommend you do both. You can still do everything on Etsy and your site, but definitely if you can get into the in-demand store, do that because it allows you to kind of keep your campaign.
I tried it once before, but weirdly, even though it showed it was funded and all that stuff, I didn't get a single person that ordered a copy or anything.
Does it? Now I don't know this. Does it cost you to do the in demand?
I don't believe it does. I just know usually what people do is on Kickstarter they'll have like all the awesome rewards, and then on the in demand it'll only be like just to get like the book or something like that.
Let me see here.
If it don't cost you nothing, little brother, I'd do it.
Yeah,
it can't hurt you to do it.
Yeah. I wonder if too now with this $25 bundle. I know there's no chance of getting them signed by Travis, but is there a chance that we can get the editor-in-chief yourself to sign the books, or is that something that you have to request specially?
I mean, I can.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has me back.
Hey, you never know. I know people who, they get everybody who's involved in a book to sign it. They want everybody.
Sure. I did that on my last Kickstarter for my Beast King issue 3 on the variant covers.
Mm-hmm.
I did it as a limited item where we only got 50 of them made.
Mm-hmm.
And me, my editor, and the guy that made the variant cover, all three of us signed every single copy. So it was only missing my illustrator and my colorist signature, which was Travis and a dude from South America.
I wonder if, let me see here. Now, when is your Kickstarter? Can anybody do the math real quick and see when that ends? Because hopefully it's not but now it's Indiegogo was having the problems with the dates, right?
11 days.
11 days. That'll be done on the 25th.
I believe it's 27.
Yeah. 20. It would be, what'd you say, 10?
No, the reason why I was asking, because, the reason I was asking is because,
looks
Simon
like it's 25th.
Simon can get his money.
It should be Monday.
So I was wondering if it's, so Monday he should be fine.
Yeah.
And let's see here. Now, another question for you, Shane, because as noticed, I was looking up Crimson Gate comics and looking at your Facebook here. And hold on. Let me see if I can. Now, I'm not sure, and we can totally. Let me see here. Let me bring it up. All right. Can we see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. There we go. Let me close out all these.
His Facebook page. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we got Facebook page. We got the scary girl up here, and the book's gonna be black and white, right? So it's not color interior, right?
Yeah, it's just that's just the main Kickstarter image.
Yeah. I wonder how many times people. Shane, have you got anybody saying, "Oh my God, your initials for your company is CGC"? Anybody?
I actually was going to use the abbreviation, and then like a few minutes later, it hit me. I was like, "Oh no, that's going to be a bad idea."
I was trying to see if Beast King was on how to see your other book, but I didn't see it here, so it might be further down. Is that?
I just saw you scroll past one of the images. I think.
Is that? Let's see. I see something colored here. Full
That's
version of
Ungodly
page
Champion.
Ungodly Champion. Okay.
Beast King was you scrolled past the picture where there was this like, big demon-looking dude jumping at someone.
Okay. Let me scroll back up. There we go. Yeah. Fort Worth's monster. I have to close this out and then bring it up. That looks pretty good. And you hire is that again Travis doing the artwork on that?
The what?
Is that Travis doing the artwork on that as well?
Oh yeah, he's the illustrator for Beast King.
Okay. That looks. I like that color. That looks cool. Yeah. Okay. Now.
Yeah, I actually based my series.
Look at that
Looks
monster.
good.
Yeah.
That looks real good. Scary monsters. They scare me. Are you now? You got how many titles are coming out with Crimson Gate?
Currently, we have Beast King and we have Crossers Gate.
Okay,
And then next year, I'm hoping to release God the Champion.
Excellent. And you're based out of Texas.
Yes.
You're right down there with Mustafa and Josh. Are you?
First one sounds familiar.
Yeah. Are you? Randy, you have any questions for Shane?
No, it looks pretty straightforward. It's a nice campaign. Wish you the best.
Yeah. So and you're closing that up in just 11 days.
11 days on the 25th. Folks should check that out.
Yeah, check that out, Crimson Crossers Gate. And then while you're there, go to his Etsy store, pick up a couple of other books. I'm sure Shane will send them out to you.
Yeah.
Post haste, right? Very quickly.
Oh yeah.
Especially for Christmas. I mean, people want to get those books. And then again, if someone is checking this video out after the campaign
25th.
closes, please do go to his Etsy store and pick that up. And the Etsy store, where can we find that at? Do you have? Is it a? Let me see here. Wonder was it?
I actually have a custom URL for it,
Okay.
and it's just crimsongatecomics.com, and it'll take you right to it.
CrimsonGateComics.com.
All right, yeah. Let me see. I'll put it up here so people can
throw that up there.
Oops. Okay, did I do that right? Yep, there we go. So yeah, crimsongatecomics.com. Go there, buy all the comics from Shane. Any deals on that site too, Shane? Should I? Let me see if I can bring that up.
You mean like say any kind of sales or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, any sales or specials?
Not at the moment. I haven't paid too much attention to my Etsy page lately because of the Kickstarter.
Yeah, like I've given enough already. I'm like, oh yeah, look at that. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. Here's the Etsy store, and you got Beast King. And you know what? I like what you're doing, Shane. Something that I do personally. And I said I'm gonna do when I do have digital comics. Digital comics are cheaper than the printed version. That makes a lot of sense to me. That's good salesmanship there. This variant cover right there, that looks gorgeous. Who did that?
It's a tattoo artist. He's a very popular tattoo artist out of Arlington.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Chucky Holden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want that hanging up on my bed at night. No.
He's actually the main character.
Is he? Yeah. Nope, not your boy.
Oh yeah.
Nope, not I. That's nah. I'm good. I can't have that hanging up above my bed at night. Can't do it. Let's see here. Oh, did we lose somebody? No, we didn't. Okay.
Nope.
All right. I was making sure. All right, and then what am I? Let me see. Page are we on here? There we go. All right. Yeah. So you got Cross the Gate posters. The issues. So yeah, people can go right to. They can go right here to the Etsy store and pick up a couple copies of these books. Age limit? Would you say mature or?
I mean, I've had like 12-year-olds and stuff read the books, and they liked them.
Sick ass kids.
But I mean, there's obviously violence and stuff like that. But I mean, if there's any cussing, it's usually just like the minor ones that you hear all the time, stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, personally, kids could read it and probably wouldn't be a big deal unless they're like parents are super Christian.
Yeah, I ask my kid all the time, like, is your favorite cuss word? He's like, no, he doesn't like the big ones, or he thinks the big ones are kind of funny, but he likes the small ones. I asked him what a small one was. He told me cunt biscuit. That's a small
Nice.
cuss word, yeah.
That's a good one. That's a classic. Very, very classic.
He probably learned that one from his mother. She probably taught him.
We just got demonetized on YouTube.
Fuck.
Just so you know.
So yeah, thank you, Shane, for joining us. We appreciate it. And
Yeah,
hopefully
thank you,
we can
Shane.
themselves. The book looks really good, and we have and I'm pretty sure that within the coming days, I'm gonna definitely try to back that 4-issue set, that 4-issue tier, because that, you know, I like to get the whole story. Are there any stories coming after? So that book is continuing; it's ongoing.
No, yeah, all of our books are continuous, and even Ungodly Champions is going to be continuous.
Cool. So yeah, you got and Ungodly Champions looks nice too. When you're ready to launch that, will you come back on with us?
Oh yeah, definitely, because that'll be issue 1. So I'm kind of gonna want that one to do as big as possible.
There you go.
Any cons? You doing any conventions in the coming couple of weeks or next year anyway?
I've been wanting to, but I'm just too broke lately to be able to do anything really.
You know,
it
listen,
sucks because I've been wanting to get things made.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. I'm when you are a publisher that has a secondary job, it is very hard to, you know, juggle them. However, you have a very an opportunity that I don't think you're not taking advantage of. You're an EMT, so when you get somebody in the back of the car and the meat wagon, and they're about to flatline, just let them go, dig in their pockets, get the funds. You'll be getting tables at cons in no time.
Oh, dead man's money.
Mm-hmm.
He spends just.
You just want to get everybody in trouble today, don't you?
Oh, the name of the company is Crimson Gate. It sounds hellbound. I don't know what to do. The dead guy's not gonna need the money anymore. He's dead.
Man,
you might as well fund somebody else's dream. I'll tell everybody. I'll tell everybody an effed up story, and I can laugh about it now.
Even Lola's shaking her head now.
When my father passed away, he went to the hospital. Yeah, $50 in his pocket. That $50 never showed back up. It never did. It never did, and it belongs. Never. So
Baron's justified. He's got that justification. Goddamn it! Somebody did that to me. I'm doing that. That's bullshit. It's all good now. It's all part of the game. Now. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I could not be an EMT. Oh, he's dead, huh? Well,
I mean, in all fairness, most of our patients are old anyway, so
see,
really gonna need
you got him already going. Well, you know, I mean, he's lived a good life. What's he really?
He's just gonna spend it at bingo. He's just gonna spend it at bingo. Just go up in his pockets. Yeah. Everything comes bigger in Texas, even though
just put a thank you in the book for him. You know what I mean? So I want a special thanks to so and so helping the dreams happen.
Thanks to John.
Was his last wishes? I feel very obligated to honor this man's last wishes by using his funds to make this happen.
Oh man,
I can hear it now. I'll wait till this interview airs. That was awful. That was awful of me. But yeah, so thank you for coming on with us, Shane. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you back in your other books.
Yeah, thanks, Shane.
Yeah. And you're always welcome. I had fun. And you're always welcome to come back. But real quick, where can our listeners find you after the show, after they watch? If they want to follow you on social media, Crimson Gate, where can they find you at?
Well, our main Facebook page is Crimson Gate Comics, but you can find me on Facebook just under Shane Morrison. And
Shane Morrison.
Really, Facebook is the main thing I use. I've tried Twitter, and it's weird. It's like 50-50 on if I can get any kind of interaction at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Instagram, I think, mostly just posting pictures on there, and people like it, and that's about it.
Yeah, I agree. It's very hard to get, and when you do start getting interaction on Twitter, is like
true. Stay away from Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's like sex in high school.
Drama platform.
Yeah, it's sex in high school. The sex you want, you ain't getting. The sex you getting,
Yeah.
You don't want.
So then, it's pretty bad there. But I am on Twitter, so yeah. Yeah, I think we're friends on Facebook, so everybody reach out to Shane. Send him EMT jokes at EBT. Wow, EMT jokes, and yeah, and he's out there saving lives. So go to man $25, get all 4 of the books, and then pick up his book, Beast King, as well as other books from Crimson Gate. Thank you for coming on with us.
Thank you, Shane.
Yeah, thanks, Shane. Nice meeting you.
Yes, sir.
All right,
we'll see you out too.
Yep.
All right.
Later.
All right.
We went on to talk to Tony for another half an hour, wasn't it?
Yes. But now we're live. So
now he's live. He's right there. Looking the same as he did when he was on video before.
Yeah, this is weird. It's like
I know it is. I'm looking at it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is weird. It's like we're talking to ourselves.
Let me see if I can do that. How about that?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like we're talking to ourselves.
Yeah, you know. I know.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Well, Baron, you look exactly the same too.
I do. I was worried about that. I said I'm wearing the same shirt. I'm not. Thank God.
I thought about wearing the same shirt. I figured no, I'm not gonna dig it up from the dirty clay.
Switching we don't take baths here at INDIE Vote.
These little dirty motherfuckers up in
here. So that was Shane Morrison from Crimson Gate Comics. Very interesting comics they have over there. I did a little more research on them. As a matter of fact, though, and then you can also catch the rest of that interview. It'll be up on indievote.com as soon as this show is over. So I'm gonna put just the interviews up. And you get we talked to Shane, and then we also talked to Anthony about his book again, God's King. We're following the God's Hand. Yeah, God's Hand. We're following the book because we want to see these guys hit their goals. And we got I think for Crossers Gate, Shane is at 6 days, $896. 6 days. It's possible. He could do it. He could do it. 6 days to go, 58 backers, $896 of a $1,500 goal. It is doable. I've seen it be done. So if you want to check it out, you can. It's at Kickstarter.com. The name of the book is Crossers Gate, number 1 through 4, a thrilling psychological nightmare from Crimson Gate Comics. And and then if you do back it, shoot us a message on INDIE Vote on our Facebook or our Twitter and let us know that you backed it, so we can tell Shane that he owes us.
There we go. You gotta get your taste, right?
Yeah. We gotta hang it over his head. There goes Simon. Simon's there, and then what do we have here? Ralph says, unless I'm missing something, the logo looks a little meh. Just my, is that JMOT?
Just my opinion, though.
Yeah, okay. Is that what it means?
I don't know.
Close. That sounds pretty good to me.
So, Randy?
Could stand for Jelly Makes Otters Twitch.
Oh, Lord. You just pulled that one out your ass.
I did.
Well, it's true. Jelly does make otters twitch. It's seen an otter the other day. Disney Plus has National Geographic. I seen an otter.
You watched some twitching otters? Is that what you did?
Yeah. He was over there twitching out on. He was like, what's her name? Amarath. Speaking of which, can't get enough for an Amarath channel. I think I showed you guys.
Moon calves? You see any moon calves?
No moon calves. No moon calves. I just seen Amarath and her pet beaver.
I like that beaver.
On the Disney Channel.
No.
Sure you weren't watching Pornhub?
Just watching them girls on the trampoline with the beavers.
Yeah.
Must be it.
Oh, see, Ralph says the Beast King logo that was. Oh, he said the logo looked man to him on the Beast King logo.
Ah.
Yeah, I think logo design is a very important thing. We tend to kind of overlook that when we're designing our comics.
Tend to take it for granted sometimes.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, well, back in the old days when they were working with a spinner rack, they had to have a logo that was very clean, very concise, and very readable from a distance, because you only had so much time to catch somebody's eyes. It's almost the same in a comic shop now, only a lot of the comics aren't even put out on the shelf. They're just thrown into people's pull boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But the logos that really throw me are the ones that you absolutely have to sit there for a minute and go, what the hell is that? Like, we have a local convention down in Detroit that has the most horrible logo I've ever seen in my life. And you have to sit there forever and go, like that dog, and then you go, it's graffiti.
Yeah.
Not designed by a professional.
Yeah.
You just shrug it off and,
Yeah,
but anyway.
Somebody's cousin designed that logo. And
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. Somebody's cousin with no commercial arts experience whatsoever.
I gotta design 2 logos tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Oh, Lord. Those poor people.
There you go.
Yeah, those poor people who get those logos.
Whatever.
Hats off to you.
I bet it'll look nicer than that one for the convention.
Hey, they don't let me in the convention anyway, so it's after 10 o'clock. Welcome.
Never been invited.
Yeah.
Just not part of that gate, I guess.
Yeah. We hold grudges here at Indie Vote.
Deep and long.
Deep, long, and continuous.
Not to mention the amount of bridges that we've burned in our past. Lots of those.
Yeah. And the cool thing is we burn bridges all the way from slow motion.
Yes. It's a long, slow burn.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it with style.
Yep.
Anthony, were you here for some of our questions we asked earlier?
I wasn't. I was trying to get on and I didn't. I kind of caught the one question. It sounded like you were talking about craft a little bit. Randy was doing a good job kind of talking about what's missing. And I was trying to pay attention to it.
You pass that question by him.
All right. I got to bring him back up. Hold on. I got to bring the question back up.
He's got to go find it now.
Yeah. I had to find myself.
Click. Don't bring up your Pornhub.
Don't bring up the beavers.
Yeah, I had to get out of Pornhub, man. They're no longer paying other PayPal anymore. They left us all high and dry, so.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Shut down
all these sites out there are getting way too corporate.
Yeah. What I'm gonna do?
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Can't let the little guy make some money.
Let's see here. The little guy makes some money. Sorry, that's funny.
Are these serious questions?
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
They're always serious questions.
Do I have to give serious answers?
Not that one. Not Giantar. I think that one's been answered. I think that one's been answered pretty straightforward.
Well, Giantar one. He says,
You can always get Tony's opinion.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony. You're gonna read it.
Oh, are you serious? I have to read this?
Yeah.
No, I'll read it. My comic,
okay. Yes.
comic, Joseph Loves Amanda, was rejected, not just from Kickstarter, but also Indiegogo, due to subject matter. Joseph's love for American Amanda is forbidden due to age differences, so he takes her to a country where their love is legal. Where can I crowdfund my project? Help! G. Antar.
Antar?
No, G. Antar.
Yeah, his last name is Antar.
Yeah, his last name's Antar.
This is a real question?
Yeah.
I'm afraid it is. We don't make them up here. We're not.
So
like
so the book is about child rape? I mean, what is the book actually about? About underage? I mean, is that what it is?
I think you're wrapping your head around it real good, Tony.
Yeah.
Where can I go? Unfortunately, Pornhub is no longer doing these types of things. I don't know the age differences. Where can I crowdfund my project? On your own website? I don't. You know what I mean?
Good luck on that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't.
Yeah, the thing is,
maybe
even with his own website, if the subject matter is what we believe it to be, because it says here that for Joseph, I can't say, I shouldn't say it that way, but Joseph,
Joseph.
yeah, Joseph,
Is it Joseph or Joseph? Joseph.
Jay here. Jay loves Amanda. It's not necessarily Amanda loves him back, but
So he takes you to a
it
country
says,
that loves Leo.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because I don't know, where's this legal at?
Yeah.
I mean, in the Middle East, I don't know. I mean, maybe you can go to the Middle East.
Maybe on the dark web.
Yeah,
Ralph
said.
You know.
Yeah, you
That'd have to be pretty dark.
Yeah, you cannot crowdfund that book, G&R. But I want to run that question back across Anthony because I like to get a rise out of people. So, but no,
he might be able to get it crowdfunded if he goes and takes it to the country where such things are legal. That's all.
And shame on you, sir, for taking to that country. Shame.
You're the one that keeps pulling up the question, buddy.
I'm trying to find. Is this the one we're talking about, Randy?
Yeah. So explain to me, like I'm a complete moron, what you all seem to find lacking entertainment-wise in modern mainstream or indie comics. W. Hayes.
Like you're a moron.
Do your best moron voice. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't do it personally.
Politically correct. We're gonna get mail from that. I'm sincerely sorry.
Entertainment wise, I find that the comics today craft. I mean, I think you're lacking a complete craft. I mean, I'm going to go back to what Randy's saying. I think entertainment wise, I heard him talking about conversations and things like this, and when I'm writing, like that's the whole thing. It's like, okay, that's cool. You want to get some exposition and whatnot, and some dialogue and stuff, but there has to be something going on. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, someone asked me the other day, they were like, do you like manga or comics? Do you like anime or comics? And I'm like, well, it's two different things, right? Anime manga probably is more of a sword duel. It has more nuance to it and whatnot. I said American comics, man, are street brawls. They're punch you in the face brawls, man. So you better bring it. You better bring the action. You better bring all of this stuff. You can mix in your storytelling and whatnot, but I want to see something happening, man. Otherwise I can pick up a book and I can read a book. You know what I mean? Like I want to see some visual stuff. I mean, this is a visual medium. I don't know. Randy brought this up last time, and I agree with that. I think you have to have read comics from 20 years ago. You have to have read comics from 30 years ago to see it. I came up with Bob Layton's Iron Wars with Iron Man. Todd McFarlane was on the Hulk at the time. Mark Silvestri was doing Fall of Mutants on X-Men. I mean, like these, you go back and you look at these things, and it's like, man, these are great stories, and they're taking place in these events and stuff like that. And then you kind of move forward to today, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's there's this thing that's kind of moved from. I see it in entertainment. I see it definitely in movies and whatnot, where I was having a conversation with somebody about, franchises and stuff. And it was this idea that you have the rise of the franchise with Indiana Jones, Jaws, Star Wars, all this stuff. And this is a new thing. And then you wind up with these people who are trying to tell stories. And then later on, you have people who are trying to make money. And you lose something there. You lose something in the craft. And I think comics, it's like, if you can't get back to letting people tell good stories and you start trying to push this agenda bullshit, you have to look at the market. What does the market say? You can't keep pulling the same thing like Elizabeth Banks and all of these people saying, oh, well, it's because of this. That's why it didn't succeed. At some point, you have to look at yourself and say, well, did this not succeed because of something that I did? Perhaps I misjudged something. Perhaps I missed something. You can't keep doing that. You have to look at the market.
I brought up on my Facebook about Elizabeth Banks. I'm like, she fails to mention that she's been in 3 of those Spider-Man movies.
I know. I saw that the other day. I watched the original with Tobey Maguire. I'm like, is it Elizabeth Banks as the secretary?
Yeah, she's Betty Brant. Yeah.
Yeah. I just, you know,
Three of them.
it's the same thing. I think you're and we talked about this on the show before. You're also importing people who've never been in comics. They're not. I'm repeating everything that Randy was hitting on because I agree with that.
Mhm.
You're bringing people in and they're not. They never were fans. They never were fans of the end. They never were fans of the craft. They were never fans of this. So you're bringing them in and you're turning over reins to things that, again, like I said, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was some real meritocracy involved. Like you better have your A game down pat in order to take over these titles, in order to work on these titles.
Mhm.
And so to put in that type of work and to get there is a reverence that comes with that, because you're like, man, this is, you know, I worked for this. I've always wanted to work on this title, you know, and so there is a reverence to it. Whereas you're bringing people in and going, here's the title, just you know, kind of write it, and they're going, okay. And they've never written comics, and they don't know any of the stuff about what makes a comic book a comic book. You know, I don't always agree with Alan Moore, but I think he hits on something when he's like, the way that they're a comic book, you can't directly translate them into movies all the time because they're designed a certain way. They're designed to take advantage of certain techniques in the book themselves.
Ralph Griffith says comics, good art, beginning, middle, and end in some way. A disposable, inexpensive media, fun to read and not go broke. That's very true.
Yeah.
The two things in comics currently that are really driving me crazy is the even in mainstream entertainment, I guess you'd call it, is when you hear somebody say, "We didn't make this for you." It's like
I don't know what that means. That's like, I don't know what that means.
10, 20 years ago, you made it for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Everybody you meant, you know, a movie for everybody to go see, you know, not exclusive to a certain type or a specific demographic or a pigeonhole, unless you were doing an adult movie or a family-friendly movie, a G-rated movie, something like that. And the other thing that drives me crazy, especially in comics that I keep seeing over and over again, drives me nuts, are people, so-called talent that's out there, especially in the mainstream, that are there to deteriorate and tear apart the company and the genre and the art form. I take that as a personal insult.
Can you give an example?
Somebody who wants to deconstruct the superhero, for example, and concentrate too hard on an anti-hero over a superhero or a no message at all. You know, you get these talentless, pointless stories that are put into collections that are forced into libraries to actually use as an example of what comics or sequential art are supposed to be, when all it is a horrible embarrassment of lack of talent and quality. You know,
Who do you blame for all of that? And I don't mean and I mean that in a kind of a general way.
There are direct links back to people who decided that they were going to go progressive or they were going to go, or more progressive, I should say, or make it a point in their mission to diversify, to find, intentionally find people with no comic experience and tell them that's exactly why we want you here, because you don't have any Well, no, that's not why. If you want them there for that reason, expect to make no money. Expect if they have to learn on the job, especially at a large mainstream company, you're going to watch those numbers drop straight through the floor, which is what they're seeing.
Paul Schultz says, "We didn't make this for you," is a metaphor for poor sales.
It is. It's a bad excuse because they're going against the accepted demographic. And there are books, you should do books against that demographic. There should be books out there for absolutely everybody. And there should be books aimed at specific cultures and demographics. That's fine. But the problem is, Marvel was doing a great job of that in certain aspects. Granted, they were dealing with a back in the I'm going to try to express this correctly. When they were diversifying, they weren't intentionally going out and going, "Oh, your skin color matches the skin color of this character, so you should only be writing that character."
That's completely retarded.
That's the way it's working.
That is completely fucking.
Or your
fucking
sexual
stupid.
preference is the same as this character's sexual preference. You should only write that character.
That's completely fucking ignorant.
Good writers should write for everybody. Good artists should be able to draw next to anything.
Sure, because it's an ignorant fucking statement. Because what it's saying is that you as a black man, you as a gay person, can encompass the entire experience of the entire community of black people, of gay people, and you're speaking for everyone. And it's like, how the fuck, how does that even fly?
They're causing more pigeonholes in the attempt.
It's a condescending way to look at things. It's a condescending fucking way to look at things.
It is.
It's so crazy that people don't call that shit out and go, dude, you talking about progressive values, dude. You're straight condescending to fucking people. You're straight talking down to people. Right now.
Call that out nowadays would result in, I mean, me personally, if you call some type of you call some of that out, you get dog piled on.
Yeah.
And I used to think it's because, hey, people are getting jobs this way. You know, you really are. Look, you got to look at it this way. I've seen the use of this word, which I guess I'm okay with. Maybe I'm a bit of a dick because I don't like it, but people always talk about the comic book community, and and I've always called it an industry. I have no problem with the community, but I always call it an industry because a community you can belong to just by being. An industry you have to work in. You have to be a part of because of talent, because of you want to be there because you're trying to better and work in that industry. And then I thought they didn't start calling the community by mistake. That wasn't on accident. That was on purpose. They created it, and they created this community atmosphere so that they could just come in and say, "Oh, by the way, we don't like this. I don't like that. Change it."
Oh, guess what? You voted the wrong person.
Yeah, you
are no longer part of our community. We're going to remember you.
Yeah,
you're done.
Yeah. I mean, and because here's the thing, I remind everybody. The pendulum always swings back the other way. So if you're refusing to work with somebody right now because they voted for, a particular asshole, keep in mind that at some point that pendulum will swing back the other way.
Yeah.
And or not. And you'll find yourself out of work because you voted for another person, and now they feel is an asshole.
Yep.
And so
I think go ahead.
So I just be very careful and mindful of that. And this community that we've created,
that takes actual introspection to see something like that. And you have people who are so narcissistic and self-centered. That's never going to happen. Yeah. You can't keep making the same mistakes over and over again. You keep saying, "Well, this book's not made for you." It's because of this. It's because it's like at some point, if you don't have that to stop and say maybe I made it back, then you're not going to see any of this shit. What you were saying before is what it seems like has happened is you're right. There's two different things: a community and an industry. The industry is the business aspect of it. The community is the creators. Right? What happened was a community took over the industry. That's what happened, and then started calling it a community. Because they wanted to mirror their community, and it's like it's a power play, man. I get it. Look, I'm not mad at you, man. You're going after power. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Let's all call it what it is. That's my problem with all this is that somehow we're sitting here pretending like it's not that. It's like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is that. I know power plays. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's what this is. You stepped in, you took over, and now you're trying to run things. And you're trying to use this thing to say, well, if you don't follow this, we're gonna cancel you. And how we're gonna cancel you is we're gonna label you as something and make it so egregious that no one wants to make you so a pariah, so no one wants to come near you. We're gonna give you social leprosy, right? And so then when you get that, no one wants to come near you, even though they know what's happening is wrong because they don't want to get the leprosy and they want to cancel too. And at some point, I don't know. At some point, there has to, and I agree with Varian. I think this is what happens. At some point, there's a boiling point where there's going to be a swing back where enough middle people are going to get caught up in this, and then people are going to start saying, "This is going too far, man. This is bullshit."
Yeah.
And people are going to start standing, just like Dave Chappelle did in comedy. It's just going to be like, "Look, this is bullshit. Enough's enough. I'm drawing a line right here." That moment is going to happen. It should happen within the next year. Hopefully.
If it hasn't already happened with
I agree.
stuff.
I agree.
You know?
I agree with that. I think this is definitely a step in a. It's an organic process, man. This whole thing we're in right now we're in this. We're a part of something that's changing in ways that we've never seen change like this before. Mm-hmm. So it's all organic. We're on this ride, and basically it's okay. Well, and this is where I believe in market. I believe in good faith. I believe in things like that. That if you continue to do things in good faith, you continue to make a good product, in this case, consistent at it, that's what wins out in the end. Because all this other stuff is going to wash, man. It's going to wash eventually.
Here's the thing: outside of a comic like G. Antar's, I think you should be able to go. I think we should be able to go get your book crowdfunded.
I think you can easily say that was a niche comic that has a very slim and small audience.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is like,
might not make it.
Yeah, I mean,
back in the 60s, you might have been able to get away with that in an underground comic, but you can't get away with that kind of stuff now.
But the thing is like, just because you have a comic called Spank the Monkey, you should be able to go get that crowdfunded anywhere. Look at the content of the book. Yeah. You should be able to get that crowdfunded. I mean, because it comes a point where, I mean, I hate he's not on the show, and we need to get him on here, but Z.M. Thomas, the creator of the Bible too, and he's got a couple other books out, and his books are very
blasphemous.
It's blasphemous, yeah.
Blasphemous in which way? What you mean?
Oh my goodness! In every way that you can imagine.
They're blasphemous. But here's the problem.
It is his version of the.
It's satire.
I think it's satire. Picks up in the New Testament.
Yeah. Oh
my goodness! I mean, I was sitting there
reading
that.
Did he talk about how Mary stayed a virgin?
I don't remember if he gets into that.
No,
Jesus doing some pretty crazy shit. I'll tell you that.
I let Randy read the book, and Randy, he has not. I think he said you got a couple pages in, you had to close it.
I had to stop.
You got scared you were gonna struck by lightning.
Wow, no. I told Varian he might not get the book back. I thought it was a work of genius.
but
it's just incredible, but incredibly blasphemous. I mean, it made Life of Brian look like a Dick Van Dyke show.
But here's the thing: he was coming back from the airport, and he opened his bag and noticed that one of his books was damaged. Thought nothing of it till he got back home and opened his books up and realized that his books had been ransacked, destroyed. Somebody had gone through his books and destroyed them. I think let me see here. Let me see how I will.
Probably for their opinion on his content.
Sure. I mean, you go into that domain. I mean, you got to know what you're dealing with.
Oh, you're gonna make some.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like, you start attacking people's like that type of shit. And again, that's not saying what happened was right. It's what you gonna do?
But here's the thing: at some point,
but at least that is not illegal. That's still First Amendment.
Correct.
You're not technically you're not harming anybody other than their delicate fifis.
Well, that's a fine line when you
just rip to shreds.
Yeah, and that was all of them. That was a large amount of his books.
Somebody took his stuff and just rip.
Yeah, they went through his luggage in the airport. A TSA agent was like, "Oh, I don't like this," and ripped it up. But now that was a person, and you could probably track them down and find out who did it. The problem is that now we're seeing people even stop.
You'll never know.
No, you don't think so?
No.
But now we're seeing
considering all the different hands that stuff passes through at an airport.
Right.
No, you'll never. Yeah, unless the person who did it was proud that he did it, or he or she did it, and beats their chest or makes a social media comment. I had a bunch of crap run across a guy's suitcase today. I ripped the shit out of it. Oh, oh, oh. That's the only way they're ever going to get nailed.
Dumbass criminals.
But and he said, after a long and tiring trip down to Wizard World, Philadelphia this past weekend, it was time for me to fly back to Minnesota for my second local show of the month. So I hopped the plane on a Sunday to fly home and arrive later that morning. Everything seemed to have gone off without a hitch as I landed in Minneapolis. Well, almost everything. I opened up my luggage at the baggage claim carousel to grab the souvenir Star Wars lightsaber that I picked up for my son at the convention and was greeted with several open packages of my book, The Bible 2. What struck me as peculiar right off the bat about the whole situation was that none of my other titles had been opened. Neither Dead Reckoning nor Sioux Falls appeared to have been disturbed in the slightest. Only The Bible 2 and 7 books of 8 Billboard Feeders graphic novels, unlucky enough to have been in the same packaging together, were open and strewn about in my luggage as if Miley Cyrus came with a wrecking ball. So I went and talked to the Minneapolis TSA supervisor to express my concerns over how the contents of my bag were handled. I can safely say the amount of fucks given by him was, if I were to round up and carry the one, would still be 0. Supervisor said, and I quote, "It isn't our responsibility to take care of your materials in your bag. If you want to have them treated with respect, maybe you should put a note in your luggage."
That's the guy who did it.
No, that's probably the guy who did it's boss. And he knows who
together.
did it. Yeah.
They did it together.
Hey, did you see this stuff? Oh, just rip it up.
After a few minutes of that, he then sent me on my way, telling me I'll need to file a report with TSA.gov to recoup any damage and losses. So when I get home, I open up my luggage and start to tally up the amount of damage that my books had undergone from what I originally believed to be mishandling, and it was then that I realized the extent of the damage. These books weren't mishandled, they were deliberately destroyed. I had one full graphic novel of the Bible 2, Volume 1, Hail to the King of the Jews, baby, completely ripped apart, pages strewn across the bottom of the luggage, while the cover itself was also removed. The first issue of volume number 2 of the Bible 2, Double Crossed, was also ripped right down the center in half. In addition to those 2 completely destroyed issues, the Face Full of Peter edition was also severely damaged, as if the agent attempted to crush the comic up into a ball, all of which seemed to have been targeted to either religious prejudice in total. Over 37 copies of the Bible 2 were severely damaged and are irreparable. The spines completely smashed, pages are ripped and crushed, and even removed from the book, which are no longer able to be sold, resulting in a total loss of $895. So this past week, I spent several hours on the phone, police reports, filing damage claims with the TSA, sitting on the phone with the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, trying to weigh my options. I even contacted the Department of Homeland Security, where they are looking into this on an internal level and potentially seeing whether this qualifies as a hate crime, as I was notified that I was actually having my First Amendment rights violated by a federal agency. As of now, the situation is currently still out of my hands until either I hear back from TSA or my claim of their findings, or whether they chose to ignore me for 6 months and force litigation due to the Federal Tort Claims Act. Either way, it looks like I'll be playing the waiting game. Until then, I'll keep you guys posted on latest developments, which I need to get in touch with ZM to find out about that. But
I was just going to ask if there are any latest developments.
Now
Was his title one of those that was brought up in that printer scandal that we had?
They did have a couple copies. They did.
Did he ever get more copies back?
I'm not sure. I'll talk to him.
Something more to ask him about.
Yeah, I will talk to him. But I mean, so now look, they're not just tearing your books up. Now it's stopping your books from even getting funded if you're going to crowdfunding.
Yep.
And I'm seeing something else lately too. I'm seeing printers pull out. I don't like you. I don't believe in your politics. I heard that you voted for that guy or that guy or that woman.
What
I'm not printing your book.
What has that actually happened for a comic? Somebody's refused a book because they found out the person voted wrong.
They found out that the person. They found out that the person
Is this
It's
another
friends.
mushrooming incident that ties back into CG or what?
It does tie into CG.
Jesus
If you're a part of CG,
This makes you
then
ill.
Yeah, but
you're not getting printed.
that's the problem. The problem is that they need to. Nobody needs to do anything. But the
That
idea
ties-
of tying the idea is it needs to stay the way it is. Comicsgate is a consumer movement. Like that's what it needs to be.
Yeah,
And
that-
it needs to be kept to that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a consumer movement. That's what you're tying into. It's the consumers who are saying we don't want to deal with this bullshit over here.
There's a lot of people out there though that are mushroom to the point where they feel they don't have to understand what CG is because they've already been told that it's a group of bigot, racist, N-words.
The more, but what's going to happen is that shit is going to shift. That shit is going to shift because with people like Tucci and people like that who are going to come out, I'm telling you right now, they're going to break bread. They're going to come out middle ground and they're going to say, piss on this. We're here to print books. We're here to make books. We're all here to be together to do this in the indie market. You guys don't want to be a part of it. Don't be a part of it then. Go do your thing over there.
That's why they're making so much money.
I'm sorry. I heard
the crowdfunding.
I was following the sentence and I heard N-words. I'm trying to put two and two together. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, German N-words.
Then I'm like, oh, German N-words. Yeah.
I didn't want to say it because apparently the algorithm on YouTube will get your video pulled.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. That to me is more disturbing than anything else.
No matter if it's used in no matter what the context is.
Correct.
I wonder how that's going to affect history.
Oh, they're already having trouble with it.
Yeah.
It's just a blanket algorithm. They're having to go back in now and protest all this stuff.
Yeah.
They don't care.
I just can't see it. I go back to what Darren said about the pendulum. I can't see it staying like this.
No.
You have other platforms that are going to start coming up. They're going to start taking a chunk out of the market. Just like the crowdfunding is taking a chunk out of the market, and it's like you're going to have to adjust to that shit, or it's going to grow into something more.
Right.
Because at some point, that's what's going to happen. At some point, what you're going to have is a bunch of indie. You're going to have an image movement because you're going to have a bunch of indie creators on crowdfunding who are going to finally say, you know what? Why don't we band together? Why don't we make something over here? That's coming.
And this is what some creators need to understand. Instead of closing their ears up to what's happening and saying, no, that's evil. I heard about that.
I don't have to understand shit.
They need to understand what is going on. That consumer revolt. You can't sit up there and say, oh, no one went to go see my movie because you guys are a bunch of bigots. I didn't go see the movie. I'm not a bigot. I didn't buy your comic. I'm not a big. Maybe something your comic didn't appeal to me.
But you're dealing with a bad case of cognitive dissonance because it's like, well, wait a minute. Didn't Charlie's Angels, the other three, the ones that came up, weren't they well received? Like, well, you can't. It's this weird place where you're like, are you listening to what's coming out of your mouth right now? What you're saying? Like the movies with the other girls, like everybody they love those movies, man. No one complained. No one had an issue with it. They loved Drew Barrymore. They loved Lucy Liu. There was no problems. Yeah. So what happened?
The last movie that they were in wasn't that great.
Okay. Again, though, but no one said, well, you didn't go see the third one because you don't like women and you're a misogynist and stuff. People were like,
you're a guy and we didn't make it for you.
Everybody was like, it really wasn't like good.
Well, here's the problem.
So that's where I'm at with that.
If you say, I didn't make this comic book for you, and people like you, you understand that statement, saying that statement, you might get a couple of Yas, Queen, Slay, you told them. But if that statement gets swung around the other way, oh, I didn't make this comic. I made this comic for you people. Oh my God. You will be Twitter bait for the next 3 days. They will dogpile on you and you will be canceled because you can't say that the other way around. Why?
to the best of their ability.
That's what I've said. That I think at some point that's going to start to wane. I really do. I think at some point because you're losing all that stuff loses its meaning to some point. You know what I mean? Like you keep saying this thing, you keep saying this thing, you keep saying this thing, and what happens is I don't like. Okay, I didn't like you, right? Dennis Miller, right? Never really cared for him too much, right? And I'll tell you, I have a different respect for him today, but I never did care for him. But he said something when Trump got elected. He said this, and it's funny because this was he said, look, he said all of this shit, all of these people, just let them keep talking. Just let them keep talking, man. At some point, what's going to happen is people are going to be like, these people are crazy. There's something wrong with them. Just let them keep talking. Just let them keep throwing the shit around because at some point they're gonna throw people in there. You know, people are going to go, wait, I know this. That guy's not that. This guy's not that. That's not that. You're lumping all of this shit in together, and at some point, it's just going to lose its. People are going to go, look, man, we don't care. We don't care. There's enough of a market now to where we have fuck you money, and we don't give a fuck. Go do your fucking thing. There's enough people now where it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, here's the thing. You have people. And when you think about the whole Trump thing, you have people who did not vote for Trump that are like, wait a minute, that what you just said is a bridge too far.
Correct.
I can't co-sign this buffoonery.
Yeah.
And as it relates to our little funny book industry, when I hear somebody tell someone I won't work with this guy or this girl because she did vote or didn't vote, because that's the other thing too. Don't forget, it's not just if you did vote for that person. It's if you didn't vote, because now if you didn't vote, that was the vote for him basically. And so they've been, and then too, like, I mean, you really can't win. You can't win. I seen again, I got an email the other day, hey, could you tell me a couple of printers because, I can't get my book printed because the printer, says that I'm friends with this person and that person, and I've been, on a couple of shows, and now I can't get my book printed. And that when you have that going on, now they got to go find a printer, and I guarantee you, if they do find a printer, who printed your book? Oh well, I printed it through whatever company. They're gonna take that company. Somebody's gonna put that company on blast. Oh, they're printing. I hate to say this, but they're printing N-word comics. I mean, German N-word comics. They're printing them, and so they must be, sympathizers, or they must be, ran by bigots and everything. And this is keep going on. I mean, really, it eats itself, or it destroys the industry. It keeps people from wanting to be a part of it. Yeah. When I've wanted to do comics since I was 17 years old, probably a little bit younger, and to get in the industry now and find out that I gotta kind of, and it wasn't like this, but to get to this point where now I have to tiptoe and walk on eggshells. It's really sad. It's not the way it should be.
No. I don't think it stays like this, and I think that's what the indie market turns into.
I walked through a Comic-Con recently, and shook hands and talked to people who have very different opinions of the industry than I do.
Me too.
Yeah. And and that was okay, and that's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't have to go to a Comic-Con or that person be able to say, "Oh, don't invite this person because I don't like the way that they think," or something they said online, or that they follow this person online. Oh, you're friends with EVS on Facebook, so I don't want your business. I don't want you next to me at a Comic-Con. As a matter of fact, I don't want you in the building because you're friends with EVS on Facebook.
And that's a shame because Comic Cons used to be a haven, a safe
Mhm.
haven just to celebrate your entertainment.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you let in people who, again, like I said, who don't understand, who never was there in the trenches, who don't have the scars on their arms from when it wasn't cool to be in it, when it wasn't pop, when it wasn't the hip thing, and you let those people in, and they're trying to gatekeep in a way where you're going,
Yep.
dude, like where did you come from? Because dude, let me put it to you like this, and I'll give you a good little anecdote here. Like my father's a street guy, okay. And I brought him to a comic book convention, first comic book convention, right? And this is what he said to me. I said, what do you think, Pop? He says, man, he goes, this is nice, man. He goes, this is like the most non-threatened I've ever felt in my life. You know what I mean? And because everybody there is all friendly, everyone there's there's all different kinds of people. There's all different shapes. There's all different colors. These people look, like, please accept me. So we'll take anybody who's willing to bring and be a part of this thing. We'll take anybody.
Yes.
And to have it cast in shadow as if somehow there's some, nefarious movement going on. It's so disingenuous. And I think what probably all of us feel, Randy, I could see he was getting fired up earlier, is it's like, where are the industry people who know better? Where are they to say this is not true, man? That's not true. Like, that's not true. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
A lot of them
You know
are
what I
dying
mean?
away. A lot of the good old guys are dying away, and a lot of other guys are poking their head out from their little prairie dog hovel and going, "Is there a problem? Is there a problem? I don't see a problem." Who was that? Neil Adams did that last year, right?
God damn it.
Poked his head out and went, "Is there a problem? I don't see a problem." Went right back into his hole.
Neil Lyles will never come on the show now. Ted
I'm sorry.
I'll introduce you to Neil at the Wizard World.
And I respect Neil in a lot of ways, but that was not one of them.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I thought he popped up and he was like, "Hey, what's going on? I heard this."
Yeah.
And then said, "Oh, I don't see anything." And
he
it's
got
like,
dog piled on. Said, "Oh, I guess
Right.
I don't see nothing," and he went back into his little prairie dog.
Right.
There.
Ted Davies says, we are being divided for a reason. If we support one another in empathy and respect, the sky is the limit.
I agree with that, Ted.
And Ralph Griffith says, race or politics of the creator has no influence if I enjoy what I'm looking at and reading. I mean, that's the way it should be. That's what we hope
I'll
for.
be honest with you, even if I don't like it and I don't read it, I don't really give a shit. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this before. I never wondered Bob Layton. I never wondered who he voted for.
Yeah.
Jim Lee. I never wondered who he voted. I didn't care who he voted. I didn't give a shit about Marx and all the people. I never cared. That shit didn't matter to me. I never even thought to ask the question. I never even thought about it. I wonder if he said. Never even thought of it.
I'm surprised in this that we still have not seen them try to get Morrison's name taken off of Wonder Woman. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
You want to know why?
Why's that?
I can tell you why. Marston's was the start of Marston. Literally started the feminist movement, and he knew what he was doing when he did it. You go back and look. It's really. Are you familiar with the origin of Wonder Woman, Tony?
No, not really.
There's been some.
I know a little bit about it, but not really.
Very fascinating books written on the subject. Anybody who's interested can pick it up. I think there's even one called The Secret Origin of Wonder Woman that breaks Marston down. Marston was kind of a celebrity, almost like the wizard in Wizard of Oz at the time in American society. He was very looked up to. He had created the lie detector. That's why Wonder Woman's lasso makes you tell the truth. He went to DC Comics and said, there aren't any comics out here for girls. What are you doing? When you need a female superhero, I'm going to create you a female superhero. You're gonna pay me X amount to write it because I'm a psychologist and I've got all of this big background and you need to respect me. Don't you know who I am? And we're going to write this thing. You're going to let me have my choice of artist on it, and we're just going to go crazy with it, and it's going to be a big success for you because I'm a big known well-known celebrity, and DC said, okay, if you want to work for our rates and you want to create a superhero female, that's, okay, do it. So he went out and he created Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman is very, if you go back and you read the early stories, which a lot of people never do, it's very fetish bound.
Right.
She loses her powers when she's bound together. She's always beaten down by men. She's just constantly. There's an entire feminist message there that's amazing. And of course, in the end of every story, she breaks her bond. She beats the man, and everything is right again with the world. Well, he got to choose his artist, and the artist he chose is very, very unique. If you ever look at Peterson's work, it's very different from any other artist that's out there. And the book was incredibly successful when it picked, because girls were picking this up and reading it like crazy. Well, when they went to put her in the Justice Society, because they put all their big characters, their secondary roster. They figured not Superman, not Batman, and eventually Flash and Green Lantern had to leave the Justice Society. But when they added Wonder Woman to Justice Society, they didn't know what to do with her, so they made her their secretary. Because they had, and Morrison didn't have any pull or control over that. They would run, Wonder Woman stories, solo stories in it every once in a while, but Morrison wasn't concerned about that. He was working on his title. So anyway, generations go by. Feminist movement kicks up. Who do you think's on the first issue of Ms. Magazine? Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. When they decide to collect a bunch of Peterson's collection together, because Wonder Woman as a character has mutated over the years, and again in a real interesting evolution as they try to keep a female audience coming into a genre marketplace that is predominantly male power fantasies. And that character has evolved in some interesting and really embarrassing ways. When that first collection of Peterson's work comes out, who do they get to write the foreword? Gloria Steinem. She volunteers. She points out this character started the feminist movement. None of us would have been into women's lib if Marston hadn't created Wonder Woman. And you go back into Marston's personal life, and it's crazy. He was very much into being dominated. He had 2 wives. Both of them were incredibly intelligent, like college professor level intelligent. And all 3 of them had very successful careers in what they were doing. So it's a fascinating origin.
There's a movie about him, Dr. Morrison and the Wonder Woman.
Marston and the Wonder Women.
We say 2 wives. I mean, 2 wives at the same time. They all live together.
Well, they weren't really wives. They were
one was the wife.
Companions. Yeah. I guess that's the best way to put it.
A wife and a mistress, and they all live together with their children.
Yeah.
Together. Gotcha.
And I'm surprised though that they haven't demonized him and turned that around. And
they're not. No. It doesn't matter how evil.
It just depends.
It
depends on how much traction the transgender movement pulls.
Because
I want to say Gloria Steinem, didn't they denounce one of these old feminists, dude, because she's not for trans rights? So like, well, she's not even a feminist anymore. Like one of the original. Dude, is Steinem still alive or no?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure she is.
I want to say it's Steinem. I want to say it's her because I don't think Steinem's now on the.
Well, you have a lot of you had a lot of, and again, you have to put that in the context of the time in history, because.
That don't fly today.
No, it doesn't.
They wanted to take modern sensibilities and try
always
to apply
looked down
them
upon
to the past.
and feared all the way through like the 70s or 80s even. That didn't start coming out until Ellen DeGeneres and
look what they did to what's her name? Martina Navratilova.
Yeah, it's still.
But what they did her, they trying to throw her under the bus. You're not really, it's just like it's amazing. But I will say it's Wonder Woman's fault. It's Wonder Woman's fault that things are the way they are right now.
No, she started the feminist movement.
Follow me with what happened.
She didn't start the LGBTQ.
Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you why it's Wonder Woman's fault.
All right.
Because DC, if you think about DC Comics, what's their trinity?
Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman.
Correct, right. So what happened was at some point, Marvel got caught with their pants down, and they don't have a Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
They don't have a Wonder Woman at all. So they're like, well, we got to create one. Let's take Captain Marvel and turn it into Wonder Woman. And that's where all your shit started. You can blame Wonder Woman for this content.
I think that's a
I'm just
symptom,
playing.
like a
I'm just
spearhead
playing.
symptom of the problem. But the problem was boiling before then.
Well, yeah, sure. It's what pushed it. I think it's what I don't know. It's weird, Randy, because when you talk about Quesada doing what he did and intentionally doing what he did, it's strange, man. Because you're like, and I guess because you had Obama, you had PC era, and everybody just knew you had Hillary coming in, so it was just going to be more of that, and they backed that horse. And when that went south, man, there was never a course correction. They're still trying to justify a business move that wasn't bad. It was, I mean, from a business standpoint, if this is which way it was going to go, it was going to go this route. If Hillary takes over, PC culture is just going to explode. So it was a smart move at the time. It backfired. It didn't work because this thing came in, and now guess what? People are like, nah, we really don't want that. We never really wanted it, but we didn't have the balls to say anything. But now we do, and we don't want that.
And it was all the Russians' fault.
It was the Russians. Those sons of bitches. The Russians or the Ukrainians? Which one is it? Whose fault was it?
Well, it's not. Well, that's this isn't really a political board, but
oh my goodness!
Do you think though?
The Transylvanians, them son of a bitch.
Yeah, there you go. They're all bloodsuckers.
Do you guys think that
all those damn politicians?
Well, let me tell you what we gotta end the show because we're pretty much at our 2 hour.
We're at 11:11.
Yeah. But the whole interview with Anthony Figueroa and Shane Morrison is up on YouTube right now, so you can check that out.
Ralph agrees with you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No.
Let me once again though, it comes to the point of the show where I need to advertise our wares. That's right. Our wares. Indie Vote Radio time, people. Indie Vote Radio, you can take it with you wherever you go. It is the perfect companion to our official website, indievote.com. Indie Vote Radio plays the best in indie music, entertainment, news, and more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can hear music from talent like Chemical, Park Squares and Alleys, and Dims One. Download the Indie Vote Radio app on Android's Google Play Store, or listen in with the streamer app on iOS.
And remember, this week is no Barry Manilow week.
No Barry Manilow.
Absolutely no Barry Manilow played on the station whatsoever.
That's blasphemy, dude.
And no Christmas music either. It's awesome. You can also check out our Indie Vote Radio by visiting our official Indie Vote site, indievote.com, and utilizing the built-in player right there on the front page. So you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll see it. So like to the right hand side, and you can even request songs through that if you want.
If you're not playing the punk version of Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, that's truly a travesty.
And then Indie Vote TV. That's right. Indie Vote TV is our over-the-top streaming service available on Roku and coming very soon to Amazon Fire Stick and more. Stream independent movies, music videos, wrestling, original documentaries, and more on Indie Vote TV. And did I mention that it is free? Absolutely free. You find Indie Vote TV by searching the channel store on your Roku device or Roku-enabled television.
No Hallmark movies on that channel.
No Hallmark movies on that channel. Not yet. So, guys, I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank everyone in the chat. Ralph, Ted, Simon, who else came in there?
Simon Paul was in there for a bit. Thank you, Paul, for stopping by.
Tommy, Trico, Dave, the Supreme.
Trico wasn't very vocal today. Tommy Sharp stopped in.
Yep. Art Torres.
Eric was there for a bit.
And of course, Shane Morrison and Rob Anderson
Dave
as well.
Supreme.
Yep. Thank you guys for coming in. We really appreciate it. And we will see you guys back Tuesday.
Make sure you give God's Hand a look over on Indiegogo. That's God's Hand. That's Tony's book.
Just put in a 1,000, maybe 500. It's okay.
Yeah.
If that's all you got is 500, it's all
Every
right.
little bit, Henry.
Sure. 250, 250. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll go as low as that. Perfect.
Yeah. We can. Yeah, we'll let us out with 250.
And I've got a channel on YouTube called Zim Geek. If you get a chance, swing by and subscribe. There is new content that's going to be coming. I've just been swamped with commercial work. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll get that back up and more content coming real quick.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Good evening, Ted. Good evening, Paul.
Yep.
All right.
Good night,
Ted.
guys. We will see you guys all very shortly. Thursday morning at 9 a.m. for the Breakfast Buzz. And then next Tuesday show will actually be pretty big. We have a lot of people. I have a lot of people here. I'm wondering how we're going to do it.
We're just going to get bigger.
Yeah.
That's all as our audience grows. And we appreciate everybody out there. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like because every little bump in the algorithms help us. So.
That's right. Again, I want to thank you for watching. Rest in peace to Tom Lyle. And we will see you guys later this week. Bye now.
Take care, everybody.